Hey guys, just a quick update for y'all. We have two new top hats for our top hat rating system. Yes, I felt like there weren't enough top hats for my top hat rating system to grade films, so we have two new top hats here thanks to my good friend Anthony. Here we have the Holy Top Hat. This is the top hat for godlike films, films that are like 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 even. Some of the best films I have ever seen will get this top hat. And on the other hand, we have the Unholy Top Hat. This is a top hat for the worst of the worst, a sin against cinema. This will be what the top hat is given for those kind of films. Horrible, horrendous films. I wonder what the first Unholy Top Hat film I'll review will be. Madam Web is the newest film in the Sony cinematic universe that doesn't contain Spider-Man in it. Yes, I don't know why Sony keeps on trying to keep this thing going, but they keep on making films about Spider-Man characters without Spider-Man. I have no idea why Sony keeps on doing this. I mean, yes, they like money, but at the same time, why? I mean, just talk to the MCU and be like, hey, can you make a film about this so we can have more Spider-Man characters in the MCU? But no, they just really do enjoy making films about Spider-Man characters without Spider-Man. Now, when it comes to the cinematic universe as a whole, we have Morbius and Venom 1 and 2, and soon to be Kraven and another one that's coming out this year. Venom 3, that's the one. Yes, we're getting another Venom film this year. Honestly, when it comes to the cinematic universe, I like the first Venom. I mean, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, but I like that one at least. Okay, so films like this are really hard to review because there's only so many times that you can say that a film is terrible, or there's nothing good in it, or it's just a complete and utter mess. You can only say it so many times before you start sounding redundant. So I'm gonna try and do my best to review this film, as professionally as I can, but man, this film sucks. Okay, so Madam Web stars Dakota Johnson as Madam Web, and you have other actors in here too, like you have Adam Scott, who plays Ben Parker, which is something. It's weird to have him in a Spider-Man movie, without anything to do with Spider-Man, but I digress. And you have other characters in here too that I don't remember their names because they're so forgettable, but okay, I'm trying to review this movie as professionally as I can. Be professional now. I mean, I'm sorry, there's just nothing here in this movie. I mean, the story is just, if you can even call it a story, the best way I would describe this movie if it's Spider-Man meets the Terminator, which, as a concept, that sounds pretty cool. You have Madam Web, or Cassie Webb, before she gains the title of Madam Web, who's on a mission to protect these three girls who are being hunted down by this dude with spider powers. It's not Spider-Man, but he's got a Spider-Man-like suit, which makes me think, did Spider-Man get inspired by this suit, seeing how this takes place before Spider-Man was actually a thing? I don't know. But yes, this villain here, he has Spider-Man powers, except for, web swinging. He can climb on walls. He can hop from place to place. He's not really a very entertaining villain because you honestly don't know anything about him. His only moral and goal is to try and kill these three girls because he's been having visions of the future that these three girls are gonna take down his evil plans that you don't know anything about. But he's evil because he's trying to kill these three people, so there's that. At least he's a bad guy. And Cassie Webb, she knows that these girls are in danger because she has spider powers of spider sense. She can predict the future. So she's seeing these visions, and then she's trying to figure out, alright, what's the best route that I can take to protect these three girls and stop this evil Spider-Man guy? Which, as a concept, is pretty cool. Now, I've never read a Madam Web comic, so I don't really know anything about her powers or anything about her character. But man, this film made me want to just never learn anything about this character ever again. This movie just, I feel bad for any Madam Web fan out there because there's no way anyone can enjoy this film, especially Madam Web fans. But yeah, that's kind of just the whole story, is Cassie protecting these 3 girls and trying to stop this wannabe evil Spider-Man guy, which I don't know if this guy was from the comics or not, so again, I don't know really anything about this character, but even watching the movie, I don't know anything about this character because it doesn't explain or show me or tell me anything about this character. He's just kind of there. I mean, yes, you know this from the trailer, but this guy kills Cassie's mom, so I mean, again, you know he's a bad guy because you see him do bad things, but you don't know why he's a bad guy. Yeah, you don't know what his main motive or goal is. He just wants to... He doesn't want to take over the world because he doesn't say he wants to take over the world. He doesn't want to get rich because he didn't say anything about getting rich. What was his goal besides just wanting to collect spiders and kill people? Oh boy. Okay, let me at least talk about something that I did like in the movie. Adam Scott's in it. He's one of my favorite actors. Can't wait to see him in Severance season 2. That'll be good to see. Yeah, that's about it. That's about all I liked. Adam Scott. Because you can tell that Adam Scott knows that he's in a terrible movie, so he's just hemming it up and phoning it in, like, with every piece of dialogue that he says. In fact, all the dialogue is just so terrible and the acting is so stiff. I mean, all the acting is just horrendous in this movie. It feels like everybody was held at gunpoint, like, read these lines right now, say it like this. I mean, everyone feels like they're, like, held at gunpoint reading these lines. And I'm sorry, like, the characters as well, you just do not care about any of these characters, especially the 3 girls. I mean, they're just one-note token characters that only have, like, one personality trait. You have, you know, the shy, nerdy one. You have the rebellious jerk who's actually soft on the inside. And you have the smart one. Like, that's all they are. They just have one personality trait. There's nothing to their characters. I mean, the film tries to make you care about them because there's one scene where they're all, like, hanging out in a hotel or something. And they're all, like, pretty much just trauma dumping to each other. So you're, like, learning about, like, how rough their lives have been and, like, what they've been going through. But they tell you all that stuff, like, an hour and a half in, and there's only, like, 30 minutes left of the movie, so by that point, you just don't care. And the ADR, oh my gosh, the ADR. How do you screw up ADR this bad into a movie? I mean, there are parts where, like, they're in broad daylight, these characters, and they're talking to each other, and the camera is directly pointed, like, at their face, and you can tell that the dialogue is not matching what they're saying, like, with their lips. Their lips are not matching the dialogue at all. I mean, this is like one of the first things you learn when making a movie, I assume, like, hey, make sure the dialogue matches what the characters are saying with their lips. Make sure it matches, make sure it looks good. But no, it's laughably bad, guys. I'm so sorry, but everything here is just so amateur and terrible. And oh my god, the editing. Oh my god, dude. Oh my goodness. It's like if they put every scene into, like, a paper shredder and then try to just re-put all the scenes back together the way they were supposed to be. And oh my gosh, it is just headache inducing because throughout the entire film it's just random, like, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, camera turning upside down and twisting all over the place. It's like they put a freaking camera, like, on a roller coaster and was just like, alright, we'll film the scenes like this. And it's just so nauseatingly terrible to look at. I mean, I was getting sick looking at this film. I mean, there's one scene where they cut, like, 3 to 4 times in one sentence. Like, imagine if every single one of my reviews was filmed like this, and it was like this for 2 hours. Now, is this film so bad that it's good? Kind of. I mean, I would say like 60% of this film is so bad it's good. The other 40% is just nauseating and boring and just terribly written. I mean, this can be a film that you can watch with your buddies, like 12 beers in deep and have a good time with it. I mean, I felt like I was drunk watching this film, but I was completely sober. It's like a drunk man made this film, was like, yeah, that looks good. Keep it that way. And oh my god, the final climax in this film is one of the funniest things I have ever seen in a movie. Okay, spoiler here, but do you really care about spoilers? So, Madame Web has a vision in this film where she just sees like a giant S flown by her. She just flies by her while she's gaining her powers. And then you're like, oh, is that like the new Spider-Man logo for Madame Web or something? No. So when they're having this giant climactic fight, she looks up and sees a giant Pepsi Cola sign. And she looks at the S and was just like, oh. And she makes the S fall down and crush the bad guy. Like, I'm not kidding. That's how the bad guy dies. She looks at an S on a Pepsi Cola sign, brings it down, and just kills the bad guy that way. I mean, I was having a hysterical time at that part. See, there are parts in this film that can be super funny, but the problem is you gotta sit through this film for 2 hours. Okay, let's just move on to our top hat rating scale. Guys, I'm sorry, but this is one of the worst superhero films I have ever seen in my entire life. But it is a fun, chaotic romp. And you know what? You might have a fun time with it with your buddies and just having a fun time watching a terribly bad movie. But, Madame Web, I'm sorry, you are a sin against cinema, and you get the unholy top hat rating. I never want to see you again. Guys, your first time here and you like what you've seen? Be sure to subscribe for more content. And have you seen Madame Web? What did you think about it? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I hope you have a fantastic night, and as always, stay fancy.